DC Comics' Absolute Universe is awesome. I was patient. I waited a couple of months for the issues to somewhat pile up, so I had a bit to read through. That way I wasn't just waiting one issue at a time. And I read through every single one available last night. Now, I know the Absolute Universe is supposed to be a brand new world, a world that we are going to continue with in the same way of the main continuity. However, it is going to be a lot different than the main continuity, and boy is it ever. I know this world is existent because of some sort of shenanigans that Darkseid is up to. But let me just say, whatever Darkseid is doing, has done, or whatever he's up to have created this world, thank you, and you have my full support, because for the first time in a very, very long time, I feel so invested in a series or a run of comic books, a new variation of a main timeline that I actually have a lot of interest in. I love creative changes. We have 80 years of these characters to know who they're supposed to be. I want to see differences. They went so different with these versions of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Not only would I not have thought of some of these different choices of ever being made, even in other Elseworld storylines, they are changing things that I simply just wouldn't have expected them to change. Even at the very least, Batman, Bruce Wayne being wealthy. That does seem to always be one constant throughout any story you tell of Batman, whether it be in comic, film, or show, or wherever it is. He's not wealthy in this story. And even surface level changes like that I thought were a genius move. These versions of them are so different than usual, but just enough to be similar to allow me to say, yeah, that is Batman, yeah, that's Superman, yeah, that's Wonder Woman. I mean, I don't even really have a script for this video. I'm just going in and I'm gonna gush about it as much as I can. Let's start with Batman first and foremost, though. Thomas Wayne being a school teacher and dying in a shooting at a zoo. I'm sure we're gonna get a lot more details on that. Martha still being alive. Think that is an awesome touch. Bruce working as a construction worker and having years of knowledge and training and experience of doing what Bruce Wayne would usually do, leaving the country, training how to fight, mastering the mind, learning sciences, and getting all these degrees. He has literally done that, but from being a middle-class worker. Alfred, this underground secret agent, mercenary hitman, whatever he is supposed to be. I wasn't fully expecting that as I first started to skim the pages, especially the fact that him and Batman have no connection to one another, not until about the end of the first issue, somewhere within the second issue. That will be especially interesting to see how Bruce and Alfred develop their relationship, because very often it is hard to see a Batman who does not have a form of friendship or relationship with Alfred. There's going to be a lot of dynamics there that will feel different, but will also make sure to remind you that this is Batman and Alfred. Now, I know when they were revealing the artwork for all these characters and they showcased Batman, he was getting a lot of flack. The way he was drawn in his build, and especially, more than anything, the bat symbol. However, let me just say, I love the ridiculousness of it. I think it is so wild and insane how big he is and what that bat symbol looks like. The bat symbol is literally a rectangle. You have to squint to look at the little bat ears and the little bat wings on the edges of the symbol. And I don't even care. I think it's awesome. He is an absolute freak of nature. Someone that size, which, by the way, is probably one of the biggest variations of Batman I have ever seen, and he's moving at a rate that no one even with superpowers should be moving like that. His cape is very interesting. A lot of the things it can do is really cool and almost a little hard to explain. It almost feels as if it is alien. The way it can cling onto walls, how he looks when he glides, the fact that he can stretch this thing like Mr. Fantastic and pull people by the legs or the throat and toss them around city buildings and city streets. And you know this Batman has thought of everything when his ears are batarangs and his chest is a goddamn axe. And look, I know there's a lot of people in the fan base that have this very staunchly defended point of Batman never killing, but I'm just gonna say it, and I don't care. Yeah, this Batman kills. He does. I'm sorry. They can use whatever grammar or reasoning they want in the series to pinpoint that he uses non-lethal weaponry, or he uses it in ways to ensure that these criminals are not dying. Nah, he's definitely nicking off a few every now and then. This guy's whipping out ear batarangs and throwing them into the shoulders of criminals. He is willingly chopping off criminals' limbs. His Batmobile is nonsense. I don't care if you are a police officer, a criminal, or a regular civilian. If you get hit by that thing, you are dead. My defense on Batman killing is that I don't necessarily think he's gonna outright go up to someone and be like, I'm gonna kill you. However, if people kind of get killed in his crossfire every now and then, I think that's okay, and I'm fine with Batman operating that way, and that is definitely how I think he operates. If this is a Bruce that is willing to already do some of this stuff, getting super, super bloody and treating your criminals the way they treat your innocent civilians, I definitely don't think this Batman would shy away from a couple of dead criminals every now and then. Which, by the way, speaking of criminals, these party animals, yeah, they're awful, lawless, vile creatures. People who are not afraid to kill men and women, but most importantly, children. Especially one of the panels in the first issue where they talk about something they did about stringing up a mother and a child to the back of a car to see what would happen, dash dash. They didn't finish the point, but you could tell it was bad. Yeah, treat these criminals as harshly as possible. They deserve it. But this is Gotham City. It should be the worst place on the planet to live. You should have these types of criminals and this type of evil existing in your city. And because of that, I feel right at home in this Gotham. Some other changes, his best friends basically being members of his rogues gallery, growing up with them as children in school. I think that is a fantastic touch. The fact that he has multiple bat caves across the city, and when Alfred follows his patterns, he creates a bat symbol. Black Mask, things are not really lining up with him all that much. You know there is something hidden in the background. Also, that he's offering Batman the opportunity to be wealthy, to create Batman into something more, which will be interesting to continue to see if this Batman takes that deal as he claims he is in the end of part 3. Is this how Batman obtains his extreme wealth? If it is, will he one day come to regret his decision by working with a man like Black Mask, who he himself seems more vile than ever? Overall, this Batman seems like a supernatural figure. It's almost as if the bats in the zoo did more to him than just make him realize he needs to become a Batman, and this is just an infinite amount of thumbs up. I love this interpretation and I can't wait for more. Now, as we look towards Superman, I love this variation of him as well. I love the way the suit looks. I love this solar power energy he seems to be able to create through his hands. And I like that his cape is some sort of dust or mist of his homeworld that is capable of doing a lot of things as well, even things that we probably don't know of yet, but healing wounds, protecting people and himself from projectiles. There's a lot to like about him. And the fact that his suit does seem to have an AI feature with this AI character called Soul. A very different touch to Superman, as we usually wouldn't imagine him to have some sort of Jarvis type feature that Iron Man would have. I like the segregated dictatorship that exists from within Krypton and how they differentiate the working class of people based on the symbols they wear on their chest. And anyone who seems to wear S does mean they are the laborers. They are the people who almost keep Krypton running, but the higher ups, the elites, the Science League will never appreciate those people. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Jor and Lara are pretty much two people who have been outcast by a lot of their colleagues and anybody who is higher up than them, pretty much stripping away any opportunity they could have had to have made Krypton a better place and to have potentially saved the planet as well. On top of that, the fact that Superman is basically a teenager by the time he gets to Earth. This even kind of goes back into something that we've talked about in the Supergirl Unpopular Opinions video that I recently posted. Superman doesn't fully understand the emotions of losing Krypton the way someone like Supergirl would, because Clark was a baby. He has no memories. Supergirl was raised there. She was a teenager herself by the time the planet was destroyed. We now have a Clark Kent, a Kal-El, a Superman who understands what it is like to lose his people, to lose his parents, to lose his homeworld. I thought it was really neat to see what I'm assuming to be a new variation of kryptonite basically seeping from the mines of Krypton and just melting a dude's skin away. What exactly can kryptonite do when utilized to its full potential in this world? I like the inspiration that this Superman clearly took from Man of Steel and Henry Cavill's Superman. The S looks very similar. The color grading on the suit looks very similar. Even the way Superman acts. He's very stoic, he's very powerful, but he still cares about helping people, but really just keeps to himself because he is still in a world, Earth, that he doesn't fully understand yet. This military organization, Lazarus, with Lois Lane employed as some sort of soldier and Brainiac controlling it from behind the scenes, which I don't believe many people actually know the truth, the full extent of what this Brainiac is. I am not a big fan of Lois. Many people know this. I'm actually okay with this version. There's something about her that just felt a little different than usual. Maybe this time around she'll actually be a lot better for me to be able to read and accept her as someone who is going to be a character that will heavily be featured as the romance of this Superman once again. There are variations of Lois that does have a military background from her father. This kind of fits, giving her that military background. Also having a bunch of peacemakers be a form of their soldiers. I don't fully understand what that's all about, but I am more than sure we're going to get into that. And then as for Brainiac, there is something about this Brainiac that feels a lot different. There is that panel shot where you see him in his computer at his chair. You can only see the back of his head slightly, and you see all these cities bottled up, and people in the bottles are screaming to basically let them out. I don't know if this Brainiac is any regular Brainiac we've seen. There is something about him that is making me feel like he is a part human of some sort. I'm not exactly sure, but at this point, the Absolute Universe has already done so many things so drastically different. Why not do something like that? Overall, though, I'm really interested to seeing how this Superman utilizes more of his powers and how he also utilizes solar radiation to make him as powerful as he is every single day. And to see how his naive nature on his viewpoints of Earth do change as he matures a little bit more. And finally, let's look at Wonder Woman. Just an S-tier design. I absolutely love the way she looks in this world. I love the fact that you gave her this anime Final Fantasy type of a sword, and her Pegasus literally being skull and bones. So cool. And at first, I'm thinking to myself, why they make her such a heavily dark version of Wonder Woman? Which, by the way, I am absolutely okay with it, but it makes so much sense. The fact that she was raised in hell. A woman who is supposed to be born and raised in this vibrant world of beautiful women, rich history, blue water, blue skies, green grass, beauty everywhere. is actually born in a complete opposite place. And then, more than that, her mother is Cersei. Wonder Woman, as we know, mostly being a warrior, still has connections to magic in her character history. This feels to be a Wonder Woman who has heavy connections to magic, and I think that was such a good idea. And seeing someone like Cersei, who can be a little conniving and manipulating, watching her become a mother to Diana and enjoy being a mother, that was quite endearing as well. That's not to say that Cersei can't still switch sides and do something that maybe we wouldn't expect. Since we don't fully know at the moment, I am interested to see how Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor leave this pocket hell dimension and go back to the real world. I'm wondering if it works similar like Themyscira, where it's some sort of bubble around their realm and they just need to find a way in and out of it. However they figure it out, I'm sure will also carry specific plot points as to how these demons and these harbingers and these creatures were capable of making its way from the ocean and attacking a California city. I really do enjoy this idea as well that Wonder Woman is heavily playing into her hellish nature. What's fascinating about it is just because she is from hell, you're taking all the negative connotations away from hell and pretty much throwing it away. As long as you are capable of controlling yourself and your power, Wonder Woman is almost using hell to her advantage against her own hellish enemies, and I think that's really neat. She's very confident. You basically have generals yelling at her, "We don't need your help," and she sits there saying, you do need my help, but I'll let you believe you don't need my help while I still help you. I know, just like usual Wonder Woman, this Wonder Woman still has a clear-cut connection to the Greek gods. And I don't know what it is about her appearance, but there are pieces of her suit and even the way she looks with her eyes, makeup, her hair, something about it makes her feel a little Viking, which is really cool. It's my favorite mythology and one of my favorite ages of human history. Whether or not that is what they were going for, and maybe it's just my bias seeping in, I kind of saw it. However, we know how Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman react with one another. We know their friendships and relationships with one another. I can't wait to see how these different variations of these characters meet up with one another and how different their relationships might be as well. And after reading all the issues available to me, it does make me very interested to seeing where they go with Flash, Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter, and anyone else they might plan on doing, because I do know we have more on the way. The Absolute Universe has my support, and as long as the storytelling keeps going along this path, you're going to have my support moving forward. I will buy the trades. I will buy the omnibuses. At the end of the day, especially with comic books, no matter how the stories are made in comic book form or movie or show, there are a lot of times I think we can get caught up in this idea of this isn't what I was expecting. This isn't what happened in that one comic book 25 years ago in the month of September. And a lot of us do fall short to this idea that if it didn't happen in literature, it can't happen at all. And this is why I like this so much. They're taking chances. They're doing things that we wouldn't expect them to do. And at the end of the day, a lot of the times we need to put our expectations behind us and just see where it's going to go. You never know, you might end up loving it. Anyways, guys, if you couldn't tell, I am absolutely loving the Absolute Universe so far, but it is your turn to let me know in the comments how you guys are feeling about it. You loving it, you liking it, you thinking it's so-so, whatever it is, let me know your thoughts. That is all I have for you on this video, everyone. I do hope you all enjoyed it, and until the next time, I'll talk to you all very soon.